Hey everyone, in today's video I'm going to create a sketch that's inspired by the style of Fennelly. He's an artist based in UK. This is his Instagram page. So he's one of the instructors at Urban Sketches Symposium in Amsterdam. And I managed to see him demonstrate live on location, and his art is really good. So this is one example. Oh, by the way, do you guys notice that there has been a proliferation of sketching tours? I've been seeing a lot of advertisement on sketching tours, and wow, it's like a lot. Even during the Urban Sketches Symposium, I was given pamphlets of sketching tours by some artists. Alright, so this is his style, which is actually watercolor painted first and then ink applied later on. You may be able to find some YouTube videos on his process, but that's basically the gist. You paint the watercolor first and then you layer some inks on top of it, either with a brush pen, a line marker, or multi-liners. So that's what I'm going to do today. So this is one of his sketches that was drawn in Amsterdam. The difference between having watercolor first and then applying lines later is you can get really strong contrast with the black against the watercolor. If you were to draw with ink first and then apply watercolor, the watercolor will actually layer on top of the ink, and that reduces the contrast of the blacks slightly. So do check out his Instagram page. He has a lot of beautiful sketches and artworks there. The reference photo that I will be using today is this. This is Zuiderkerk, a church in Amsterdam. You can download the reference photograph from the video description below. These are the tools that I'll be using today. The Strathmore Visual Journal with 300 GSM watercolor paper, 2 brush pens that have been filled with waterproof inks. This is Lexington Grey, and this, well, I cannot remember, but it's a black waterproof ink. My mechanical pencil, a sable brush, medium size 6. This is Novskaya Palitra, and a smaller sable brush, also size 6. So different brands, different companies, they use different numbering system. So both are size 6, but obviously at different sizes. This is for painting medium-sized areas. This is for painting smaller areas. And this brush, this is a squirrel brush made by Color Pro, a brand from Straits Art here in Singapore. This is for painting large areas, and I have this 3 tubes of watercolor from Renaissance Intense, Phthalo Blue PB15-1, Transparent Yellow PY150, and Permanent Carmine PR48-4. My usual style is pen and ink first, followed by watercolor. So today I'm trying something different. So one of the things when it comes to going for the Urban Sketches Symposium or sketchbooks is sometimes you see artists, sometimes you see different styles and you get inspired by them. You may want to try something different. So that's what I'm doing right here, trying a different style to see how it works. And sometimes you can learn a lot from trying something different. So I'm going to create a pencil sketch for this church first. It's going to be a very loose pencil sketch because later on I will be adding the details with pen and ink. This is just to help me block out the areas so that I can color within those areas. Now the colors, from what I've seen from some of the YouTube videos that feature Fennelly, the colors, they are not, the colors, they blend very softly, so there are not a lot of hard edges. There are some hard edges, but not a lot of hard edges. So that's what I'm going to try and replicate today. So these pencil lines, of course, this is graphite. Later on, when I paint over with watercolor, the graphite lines, they should sort of disappear into the background. But this is important because this is going to help me lay out the page. I know some artists, they can just paint straight away without any lines. That really requires a lot of planning, a lot of practice and discipline. So for me, usually it's just lines first. I can draw straight away with pen and ink, but if I need to paint, there would definitely be some sort of lines. I am not going to be able to replicate the exact style, so I'm just going to have some fun here. So I've just wetted the paper, and I'm going to paint a light wash of blue for the sky. I think I see some yellow here, so let me paint the yellow first. I'm going to keep this part white. And notice this highlighted area, which is in light. So we have some greens here. For the greens, it's yellow and blue. This brush is now a bit too big. Let me switch to a smaller brush. There is a lamppost here, which is in red, and this shop front seems to be in red as well. There's actually a lady here wearing red pants. I'm going to have some blue here. This part here is going to be a bit darker. The painting has dried, so this is what I have so far. It's very rough. So now I'm going to draw with this multi-liner. So by drawing after you paint with the watercolor, you're going to get really contrasty lines. The contrast from the ink lines is going to draw the attention of the person who's looking at your art. This area here, which doesn't have a lot of definition, is going to be more recognizable after the ink lines are added. Actually, I think I may just want to use my fountain pen instead of the multi-liner. In this case, it doesn't really make any difference. Now, when drawing on top of watercolor, the lines are going to appear to be thicker because the ink sort of spreads out. So now I'm just going to slowly add the details with my fountain pen. This is what I have so far after adding the lines with my fountain pen. So you can see the black lines, they are really striking, very bold against the watercolor that's in the background. And later on, I'll be adding the grays and the blacks with my brush pen after the ink is dry. And now let's paint the grays. This is going to require a lot of ink because this is such a large piece of paper. So what I have here is Lexington gray. And when painted on this paper, it looks kind of dark. It's actually darker than I expected. And also when overlaying onto the colors will lose the vibrancy. You can still see some colors show through, but gray over vibrant colors is going to affect the vibrancy. For areas that are going to be black, I'm going to, of course, paint them with black. This is the shadow from the lamppost. And this whole area here is kind of black, especially the bottom of the trees. This part here is kind of challenging because I've already painted the mid-tones over the building, over this side of the building, so I'm probably going to leave this as it is and later on use the white gel pen to draw the lines. But I'm going to paint the cast shadows with the brush pen. This is what I have so far after adding the grays, so now you can start to see the form. I'm going to use this brush pen and have it run across my pen nib to create some splatter. This is basically to give it some texture. And lastly, let's add the blacks. I need a lot of ink, if not I'm going to have those dry brush marks like this, which actually kind of look nice. Maybe I should use the dry brush effect. With the brush pen, you can easily color tiny areas, like this part that I have left out earlier with my watercolor. This part here needs a bit more contrast. These windows are supposed to have white frames, but I think this works as well. It looks like the windows have blue frames right now. So for the windows here, I'm just going to color the glass with black, and we'll see how it looks. So this is definitely very bold. The ink has a lot of contrast. For the white frames here, let me try gouache. So this is much faster compared to painting with compared to drawing with the white gel pen. Now the contrast here not as strong because it's white against gray. Probably should have colored it with black first before I painted this, but I guess it still looks fine. There are some railings here, so let me draw those railings. I just realized that I have white Posca markers as well, so I could have used the Posca marker, which has opaque paint. In fact, I shall just switch over to using the Posca marker just to see how it looks. Let me increase the contrast here. You see, I should have painted black first and then used the white gouache or the white marker. These markers are very useful. So this is the completed sketch. I guess the style looks kind of similar to my original style with watercolor over ink, just that here it has a bit more contrast with the ink lines on top, and also the lines, they are quite thick. I probably should have used much thinner lines so that the watercolor can stand out a bit more. When the lines are so thick, they really draw attention away from the watercolor. So the lines here definitely a bit too thick. I should have used thinner lines. I just realized I forgot to draw the clock face. So let me draw this with the Posca marker. I also realized that my grays, they may be a bit too dark, or maybe this is just right. Or maybe I just need another brush pen with a lighter version of gray. Maybe I should just dilute the Lexington gray in another brush pen. Alright, do check out Ian Fennelly's work. I'll put his links in the video description below. And that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye!